welcome to St. John's Church of Faith. I see a lot of faces I haven't seen for a while, and it's very exciting. And I see we got a lot of our kids back, and that's exciting. And of course, with this winter we've been having with snow and ice and everything, we understand why it's best just to stay home. So, I am your Master of Ceremonies this morning, and our speaker of the day, our minister of the day, is Reverend Robert Kunkle. So let's open Let's open this morning's service with hymn number 53 in your songbook. And now let us raise our hearts and our eyes and our thoughts to the heavens. In joy and in happiness as we go through our life paths, not always as one, but striving for the oneness that is our true ending. And dear God, we ask that you continue to send your light and your energy to the far regions of our world, to Egypt, Brazil, Chile, all the areas that are having devastating consequences. And we ask that your angels and our masters and teachers also assist you to bring peace, tranquility, and joy to our world. And we give thanks, O Heavenly Father, Mother God, for all the blessings that have come forth from this chapel. And we are looking forward to even greater and more wonderful days ahead. And so we give thanks for all things in your name and in the names of all the masters, teachers, guides, and angels. We say amen, amen, amen. Now together, please be seated. And now we have our reading for today. You gonna do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Good.
Relax. The reading is from the Gospel, Mark, chapter 4, verse 35. On the same day when the evening had come, he said to them, "Let us cross over to the other side." Now when they left the multitudes, they took him along in the boat as he was, and other little boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat unto the boat, so that it was already filling up with water. But he was in the stern of the boat, asleep on a pillow. And they awoke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" Then he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. But he said to them, "Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith?" And they feared exceedingly and said to one another, "Who can this be, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" Your solo now.
Very good. And now,
Jack is going to do a solo. The song is from The Sound of Music, and it's my favorite things.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple, new strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells, and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses, blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bees sting, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. We didn't rehearse. I didn't know there was a chorus. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Jack, very much. All right. My message today, does anybody really know what time it is? And basically, do you? No, you don't. Okay. In today's world, we're living in a lot of fear all around us. There's financial, there can be medical, there's the terrorist stuff. Even in Egypt, you see it's in turmoil over there now. And we need to keep ourselves centered, or otherwise we're going to get caught up in all that. Prayer and meditation is so important in today's world. If you don't do it, you're going to get caught up in the terror and the fear and everything that's all around us. I'm going to talk a little bit about fear and about transition. Fear is right in Genesis and right in the beginning. It's right in the Garden of Eden. And when Adam and Eve were in Eden, they were told, you can eat any tree you want in there, or have the fruit of any tree in there, but there's one God didn't want them to touch. And that was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. However, they did eventually get into that tree. I believe that's just a symbolism for the ego. Okay. Before that point, they were in bliss. They had no problems. They had no worries. They had no fear. The next thing they do the one thing they're not supposed to, and isn't that human nature? But anyway, I'll go beyond that. After that, the next thing is they're afraid. They run, they hide, and they clothe themselves. Now, they had none of the shame before that. They didn't have fear before that. I kind of believe that maybe they were even more of a spiritual being than we are at this point when that actually happened. And when they went and they hid and they were caught, they clothed themselves with fig leaves or some kind of a plant, and God put skin on them. And I kind of have a belief that maybe that's when we took on our physical form more. He said skins, but I think it actually means we went from being pure spiritual beings in the bliss and the oneness with God to being separate, or at least thinking we're separate from God, which we're not. And transition or death began there too. Because after they ate of that tree, they were told you're going to have to work hard, you're going to have to toil, okay, and eventually you're going to go back to dust. This is the physical body, though, he's talking about, not the spiritual body. I think the prime thing to remember is that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience in this life, and not to forget that. It's, even though it seems like it's the other way around, it's not. And our life on this planet is temporary, and I think because of that, it's very important not to get so caught up in everything. And this is where being still, the Bible verse that was read showed us that what Jesus said is be still. So when things arise and things happen, instead of running around in chaos, which the world is in right now when you look out, you need to center yourself. You need to just bring yourself back to the center again. Otherwise, you're going to go crazy too, okay? And just to come back to your center and to stay still is the most important thing we can do for ourselves now. And understand that even though it looks like chaos out there, God does have a plan for all this. It's all leading in the right direction. And we were told that we would be living in a time of turmoil. The important thing is just don't get caught up in that turmoil. I have a little joke here, by the way. Why did Cain hate his brother so much? Because he was able. Okay, what are you most afraid of, by the way? Is it financial? Is it medical? Or is it personal? Remember, it's not so much what happens to you, it's what you do with what happened to you, and it's how you think about it. And what's most important is your attitude towards things in life. Because things are going to happen. It's a part of life. We can't stop those. That's just the way it goes. But the only thing we do, and we can't control them, the only thing that we have control over is our thoughts and the way we want to react to situations. That's what we have. So it's up to us. And that's why I think today that everybody, and our children need to be taught to meditate and keep themselves centered. Because you just need that balance, because everywhere you go, it's the energy, you can feel it. I mean, you can't even take an airplane anymore. And look what has to be done to you out of fear. Turn the TV on, there's drugs to do this, there's drugs to do that. These ads for this. I love the disclaimer though. When you look at drug ads, you see these happy people, and then you read the disclaimer and say, well, this can kill you. But you'll be happy doing it. You'll die happy. You'll die happy. The important thing is not get to that point that you need them if it's possible. Remember, every outside thing you put in your body is going to have a side effect. And one of the things about meditation and praying and putting it to a higher thing is that your body will be more at peace. I mean, because thoughts do create physical stuff in our bodies eventually. It starts as a spiritual lesson, and if we don't solve it, it eventually is going to work its way down into the physical body. When it reaches the physical body, it's the last thing, so to speak. It has come from spiritual to physical. And then we have to deal with it on a physical level. But even with cancer today and things like that, they're going back in time, and they realize these things are caused by trauma that was unresolved with people. And even medicine is finally coming around to that point to understand that, yes, something happens to the physical body and you treat the illness right now, but you need to go back to the cause. Even Jesus, when he healed people, he said, go away and sin no more. And what he meant is, I can take this away from you now, but if you keep that same thought pattern that you had, it's going to come back again. So just remember, physical is the result of spiritual. You know, there are many books out there like Louise Hay and things like that help you get in touch with this. The connection between the spiritual and the physical. And what are you most afraid of? And another thing, if you were told you only had a year to go on this planet, what would you change in your life? If you really want to get in touch with what's important to you or what you feel is, just do a little meditation on that. And if you were told that, you would see that some of the things in your life you think are so important wouldn't mean anything anymore. You would center on people, you would take your time off of things, and you would put your energy more on people. And even with a lot of these near-death experiences, which mean people cross over and they come back again, so to speak, the thing they bring back is, the most important thing is love. It's not going to be things and stuff like that. It's all about how we love one another. And we're all here. We're all here to learn that lesson. We're all here to learn patience and love, every one of us, in one form or another. And if difficult situations and if difficult people come into your life, understand that you drew them there. On another level, on a spiritual level, you drew that situation to you. And you did it somewhat by your thoughts, too. But I think the important thing with that to ask is, what is this situation, person, or thing trying to teach me about myself? Remember, the way you react to these things, I have a saying that if I'm upset, it's my issue. If you're upset, it's your issue. You know, if people are pushing your buttons, if you're getting upset, it's your button that's getting pushed. Don't project it out to somebody else, because that's in the Garden of Eden too. Everybody's saying, the woman says the serpent made her do it. The man says she made me do it, and everybody's making everybody do these things, and nobody's taking personal responsibility. And I think that's what we're on this planet for. We're going to have lessons. We came in here to have lessons and experiences. That's why we came here. That's why our souls came here. And I think one of the most important things, again, with prayer and meditation or introspecting and centering yourself, is what is your mission in life? What did you come here? Do you ever take the time and sit down to ask yourself that? What am I really here to do? Because you say, otherwise you just, you know, it's like I can get here, from here to California, I can either take the straight road or I can take a lot of detours, but eventually I'm still going to get to California. It's how hard was it to get to California? Did I have to take a lot of detours? And well, I believe in reincarnation, so if you don't do it this lifetime, you're going to do it the next, but you're still going to have to do it. So do you want to keep coming back where you have this pure spirit and it has to come back into this dense body and feel confined and restricted? Or do you want to center yourself, get to it? And all you have to do is ask yourself, why am I here? And ask God to show you, what is it you want me to do? What is your will for me in this time in this life? So, and I also think that your karma, if you will, or your life lesson is tied up into what you are most afraid of. Some of those fears are going to be in this time. Some of these fears you're going to have brought in with you from other lifetimes, but you still have to work on them. You have to work on them now. And what it is, it doesn't matter where you came from. What matters is what you do now is what's most important. That's the most important thing, is living in the now. Not what happened yesterday, not what's going to happen tomorrow. It's right now, and that's all the time you have, because the past is already gone. The future has not yet come. So all we have is now. And our thoughts now, it doesn't matter where you came from, but our thoughts now are creating our future. Every thought we think is creating tomorrow. So either we can stay on automatic and just keep repeating. Automatic it's like, if we don't intentionally use our conscious mind, we are going to run 85% on our subconscious mind. And they have found that out today. That most people run 85% on subconscious thoughts, and that's habit patterns and so forth. If you don't physically or personally go in there and change that, you're just going to keep repeating the past. It's like a broken record over and over and over and over again. But that's what we came in to do. We came in with these feelings, these thoughts, these habits, and we're here to work on them. So one of the things to understand, is ask what you're most afraid of. And then do what you're most afraid of. Fear is like a fog. Once you look at it, it looks like a big wall, but once you walk into the fog, you realize it disappears. And it's what we put on it. Our thoughts make it hard. In God's realm, it's as easy for God to heal a cut as it is to heal cancer. Us as human beings are what put the difficulty on things about how hard they have to be. We do that. We decide that. And because we decide that, something that could be healed in an instant could take years to heal. Because we're the ones that are, it's like we take a little funnel, you got all this energy coming, and you take a little funnel and you narrow it down to this tiny little point. With God, all things are possible. That's what we're told. With man, it's impossible. With God, it's nothing impossible. So we're the ones that need to expand our awareness to believe that anything is possible. And in the spiritual realm, anything is possible. Now, getting a little bit back to fear, I went into the Edgar Cayce stuff, and I thought it was pretty interesting. He said that most fear is caused by selfishness, self-awareness and selfishness is what makes men and women afraid. And I thought about that, and I thought, well, how is that? Something out here is happening, and I'm afraid. What does it have to do with selfishness? But what Cayce goes on to say is, if you're not on your mission or your ideal, Cayce was one for saying, what's the ideal? What is your ideal in life? And that's actually your mission statement. What did the soul come here to do? And if you get off your path, then you start to have fear and doubt in life. And then if you don't get back on your path, that fear can kind of get out of control and eventually lead into physical things. But his main theme was doubt as a mental attitude, and fear, on the other hand, can be regarded as an emotional response of the body to doubt. So first you doubt, and then you fear. And that's kind of true. When you get caught in fear and you get caught in depression, you take all that energy and you put it on yourself. And you actually come back to say, me, 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 me. What's going to happen to me? And I know years ago I read, like, depression, one of the things they tell you to do is go get busy. Get the energy off yourself. And in a spiritual sense, it would be get your energy off yourself and give it to God. Let God take care of you. And trust that the best will happen to you, and kind of let go of control of your own life. And for a human being, I understand that's very hard to do, because we really are control freaks in that respect. You know, it's very hard to, it's like driving down the road and taking your hand off the steering wheel. But in a way, that's what God's asking us to do. I know, I mean, but from a human sense, that's the way it looks. Do I have them? For overcoming fear, one of the things they recommend is reading John chapter 14, 15, 16, and 17. Also, you have these written down here. The 23rd Psalm. I'll have to look them up. The 23rd, I think it's the 191st, and the 64th Psalm. One is to be still and know that I am God. The other one is be not afraid. But they're there. And I know one of the things Edgar Casey said years ago was to read these Psalms, because the times that you're going to head into, you need these Psalms to keep, these prayers to keep you centered. Viktor Frankl was a man who was in a German concentration camp for years, and they couldn't break him. And one of his favorite statements was, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's way. No, this is from the Science of the Mind. Nothing is real to us unless we make it real. Nothing can touch us unless we let it touch us. Everything that happens to you is either a lesson or a blessing. It's how we want to see it. And always ask yourself, when you're especially in a difficult situation, what is this person or situation or experience trying to teach me about myself? Remember, you're there because it's your lesson. You're drawn into this situation because it's going to make you more aware of yourself. And this is a quote from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Learn to get in touch with the silence within yourself and know that everything in this life has a purpose. When you're looking into your mission statement, or I like to say, go and find a mission statement for yourself in life. Casey would call it find your ideal. But the other thing is the parable of the talents in the Bible. I'm going to read that very quick right here. Thanks. Yep, I got the wrong one. Anyway, it's the parable of the talents. Is Christ talks about a master giving his servant different amounts of money. To one he gave 1, to another one he gave 5, and to another one, I think he gave 3. But anyway, the one that had the 5 took the money and bought a business with it. The one that had the 3 took the money and invested it. And the one that took the 1 was afraid, so he buried it in the ground. He was afraid to do anything with it. And then when they came back to the master, of course, the one that had the 5 was able to double that to his business. And what goes on to say is the one that was given the 5 was trusted with more. He was given more from the master. And the one that had the 1 who buried it was kind of scolded, and it was taken away from him. And that's the way it is with the talents that we come in with, that who we are, what are our special abilities and so forth that we bring in with us. Are we using them, or are we letting them get buried? What are these God-given talents? That we come in with a special purpose and a special reason, and this is where centering and being still is so important, because if we don't get in touch with them, we will go off on the wrong path. And especially with our children, it can save them so much trouble on their path if we really know who they are. Now, I'm an astrologer, and I have 2 children, and I was